Yeah.
Evening, afternoon. Yes.
It's been so long ago. Still need.
And I know you're not secretary. Oh, she changed seats on me.
Yeah, we just. Well, you do that over here.
Okay.
Yeah, unless she did something.
I'll work with your neighbor. Yeah. End of the year. Yeah. Yeah. Sandy. Well, early in the morning. But
Yeah.
Man, I'm not sure all of us need to talk. So did you
Just
sign
because
in?
Yeah,
I
I've
think,
already done-
okay, good.
Turned it in.
Okay,
You had to fill out the form.
well, I think I'll go ahead and,
Yeah.
and I can always,
Yeah, you can.
depending if I, like you just knocked it out of the park.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's really low. Then they start- How are you doing? Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Hey. All right. Okay, all right. So,
Yes, sir. All right. This is the one. Yes.
Yeah, I was just bringing
If you guys.
Yeah. That's what she just said. I'll get Well, yeah. Whatever. Okay.
Thank you. Hi. Good to see you. These are all the stuff. So we're over.
No, I have. Good afternoon, folks. I want to welcome you to the Kennedale City Council. We are starting this council at 5:30 p.m. Reading a few things to you that you'll need to know about. Y'all hammer it. Go ahead, you can hammer it. But anyhow, we got to do the roll. We're going to do the roll call and ask Miss Rosie to do that for me, if you will.
Jan Joplin. Gary Mitchell, absent. Kenneth Michaels.
Here.
Austin Degenhart,
Here.
James Connor,
Ever present.
Mayor Matthews.
Here,
Mayor Matthews, we have a quorum for tonight's meeting.
thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, this will act as our call to order. And to go down through that one, and if y'all don't hear me, wave your hand, because I'll hug the mic a little bit. Call to order is to address the Kennedale City Council regarding an agenda item, submit a request to speak form before the meeting begins. Speakers are allotted 3 minutes, must limit their comments to the subject indicated on the form, and should address the Kennedale City Council as a whole, rather than any individual members or staff. Pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.071, the Kennedale City Council reserves the right to adjourn into executive session, closed session, at any time during the meeting to seek legal advice from the city attorney to my left on any item posted on the agenda. We've completed a roll call. We've got a quorum. So the next thing we handle is the work session reports. And we'll start on that one. And this is, by the way, June the 21st, 2022. Now, the other part that I didn't mention, and I will mention, is that we are hooked up to video link, www.citizensofkennedale.com. And that video has a option to view, but does not allow the public to comment. So I've called the meeting to order at 5:30 p.m. We did the roll call again. And we're in number 2, which is a visitor and citizens forum. Again, anyone wishing to address the city council regarding any item. Oh, I already did that. Yes. Okay. Got that one. We're down to 3, work session. Let's begin the work session with work session reports. Work session item B will be following, but let's do the work session reports first. No work sessions. We go down to the next one. Work session item B, discussion and request for clarification on items listed on the agenda. Is there any of those?
Remove those 2 items.
Mayor, we will have 2 adjustments. Items for individual consideration. 6 and 7, we will discard those 2. Just from lack of information on the public hearing aspect of it, the verbiage is incorrect.
Okay. Then the next thing we'll do is C, item C. And what that does is we'll discuss the FY 22 to 23 budget and the budget calendar. So y'all will get a look at that. So if we want to start that, Ann, are you going to lead that for us? You want to take this one?
I sure can.
I can if you don't want to.
Well, if you want to go ahead and just explain the 2 that we're looking for.
Okay. So, Mayor, members of council, citizens, tonight what we provided in your packet is a copy of our budget calendar. And you will notice that we are in the process of preparing the budget currently. This week, we're meeting with the directors of each office regarding their budget, with the budget to be presented to the city secretary next week. It will be posted on the city website. And then we do have 2 workshops that we've scheduled for September on the 6th and the 13th. Daryl, is there any other information you wanted to provide at this point?
Just the timing, we just need to make sure everyone's here. So what the date's already set. What we're looking forward, if you want to continue to do it at 5:30 or you want an earlier time or later time, it's the main question. Or any suggestions?
Yeah, I actually have a suggestion. Why are there only 2? I think there should
This
be
is-
at least 3.
This is for September for.
Yes. The public meeting, the public hearing, I see that we have a couple of workshops, one on the 9th of August, one on the 16th of August. However, I feel that our citizens should actually, even though there is a public hearing on the 6th of September and another public hearing on the 13th, I think there should be another one for those of us who maybe not be able to make it, or if there were any last minute changes. So I would actually request that if we can fit in a 3rd public hearing at some point.
If we do a workshop, would that be okay, or do you want it as a public?
If it's,
hearing?
if it's open to the public, yes.
Yeah, they'll be open.
They need to know what's going on with their city and their tax dollars.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
thank you.
Okay,
Is there a particular time? 5:30 is okay for a normal start?
5:30 it is then. Ms. Rosie, if you will make a note of that.
okay.
Okay, so we're gonna try to get it all shuffled back down like it was written to start off with, but that's okay. We're flexible. Number 2 is regular session. We will begin the regular session with invocation and pledges of allegiance to the U.S. and Texas flags. I would be honored if our city manager would lead the invocation. Mr. Darrell.
Lord, thank you for guiding us and coming here today to listen to our council, listen to our mayor, guide us and lead us into the future, giving us the wisdom and then understanding and courage to stand up and do the right thing and continue to guide us with your love and your mercy. Be with us as we go forward, as we look towards our citizens for their leadership and their desire of what the city should be, will be, and have the future to make that happen. Bless us as we go forward. Bless our community, our leaders, and what our future becomes.
Amen. Chief Brown, would you say pledge of allegiance? Pledge to the Texas flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, item B, reports and announcements. Let's start with the Mayor Pro Tem, Mr. Dan Joplin. What do you have to report?
Well, the biggest thing we had this past month was Kennedale's 75th birthday. The Diamond Jubilee was lots of fun. Although it was very hot, it was a lot of fun. I would like to give a shout out to all the sponsors. I wish I had a list. I would say them individually for the financial support. The total revenues collected was $16,885 in donations from our sponsors. There was $10,000 that was budgeted from the city, which almost covered the expenses of $27,439.38. So good job. There were several people that worked really, really hard to pull this off, including Jeff Navarez, who is here, Lori Middleton Sanders, who is here, and Councilman Ken Michaels as well. You guys were incredible, and thank you so much for all your effort. The parade, the vendors, the events, activities, the music were enjoyed by everyone. And then next, if you are a senior citizen and have an interest in the events and activities at the senior center, there's going to be a meeting this Friday morning after, no, the 29th. After the music plays at, not this Friday, next Friday. Okay, so next Friday, and it's at, okay. Okay, around noon after the music, but come early and enjoy the music, right? Are you going to talk about New Hope Road being closed at all in your update? Okay. We do have a young man in our community with the goal of collecting 1,500 canned goods for this month. The donations can be dropped at the library, the police department, the fire department, or here at City Hall. Thank you to Justin Walker, and I would love to hear a praise report with the final amount collected. And then Tuesday, the First United Methodist has their quarter auction, and that's going to be benefiting a building fund for the Irene Sargent Community Center. And Mama Lou's Tamales is going to be there offering a combo meal for $5. So for $5, a great meal, and bring your roll of quarters and have a bunch of fun, right? Special thanks for staff for pulling together when so many people were out. I walked in one day and the HR director and finance director were what I would call paper in the walls with one hand. I mean, that's what I call teamwork. So thank you so much for that. And thank you for the excellent finance director for the new financial reports in our packets. And in summary, I always love seeing that our city is financially healthy. So thank you for that. That's all I have.
And I'm going to tell you the deal with Gary. Gary's little pup is on her last legs. So that's why he's not here. And he apologized. And I said, hey, take care of that. No problem. Kenneth, do you have any?
Well, I hate following after Jan because she pretty well just names everything that went on. But I did attend the chamber luncheon. And then, of course, I was at the Jubilee. And I think I attended it, but I was pretty busy that day. Didn't get to see the parade, took second place in the pie eating contest. So I'll start training for next year and maybe I can get first place. So, but it was a great event. I like to thank Kim Courtney with KKB. She did a lot of work before the Jubilee, getting the flower beds ready, picking up flowers. And of course, the members of KKB doing all the planning and getting these beds, in shape and looking good for the Jubilee. So that's it.
No comments? We always very courteous to our attorneys. If he wants to speak, he's a big gorilla, so we can let him speak. So I'm going to go over to Austin. Mr. Austin.
Well, I don't necessarily have any city announcements. We celebrated the birth of our second child at the end of June. So I've been pretty busy with that. Many sleepless nights.
Okay. And Mr. James.
I really hate going after everybody. I really do, because everyone just names everyone off. So I too was at the Jubilee. And as for the sponsors, as you were stating, here's just a very small list. Eddie K. Johnson, Zoom, Auto, Bravo Eats, Compassion of Christ, PNP, Mart, Hollis Matthews, Lavish Beauty and Skin Bar, 287 Nutrition, Speed Fab Creek, Kennedale Speedway Park, Watson Distributing LLC, Texas Style Contractors, Kennedale Campers, Apache Auto Salvage, Emerald Hills Funeral Home and Memorial Park, Blue Palmetto Training, Suti Craft Distillery, JM Yearly Auto, Ron Sturgeon Real Estate, Candlelight and Kennedale ISD, Kennedale News, Beards Towing, Southwest Ambulance Sales, and JD Taylor Contracting and Roofing. And I can take a breath now. So I would like to go ahead and thank all those sponsors for putting together a great show, Jeff and Lori as well for the mind-blowing stuff that you guys did. Lori, I just, God bless you, woman. Social media, Tarrant County Health Department Liaison, Food Truck Chair, Food Pantry Donation Chair. Is there anything you don't do? Maybe you should one day. I'd also like to thank Maria Cruz Perez, who was also on site as well. She was the director of Kids Games. Phil Wallace, who was the director of Concert and MC. I didn't get his name or his last name, but Will, our sound tech, William Hines, I like the music out there. Great. Gotcha. Excellent. And also the Kennedale Historical Society for the pie eating contest. And I do believe the pies were provided by the Pit Stop Cafe. So with all that being said, again, thank you to everyone involved. This past weekend, I went out to Mesquite, Texas to the Texas Haunters Convention. I think we need a convention center in Kennedale. I think it would be nice to invite something like that out here. It was creepy and spooky and scary. And if you're not a fan of that, I'm sorry, I am. But besides that, I really don't have anything else going on. Again, thank you, everyone. And thank you to our staff. Thank you to our council and anybody else I miss. Thank you.
Okay, Daryl, I'm going to skip back to you and let's ask you to make some comments.
Well, that's really hard to follow up anything on that, especially dealing with our community. But it was a great 75th anniversary. And I'm very grateful for everyone that was involved in it. It took a lot of people to make it successful. And Jeff, I think you've done a great job in getting it prepared for that day. And obviously that day was very entertaining and very worthwhile coming out and being a part of. So thank you for that. With that said, you have something you would like to present to the council?
For the time. Thank you, Mayor and Council. Just to sum up this, happy birthday, Kennedale. This is our Jubilee month. It's January 6th is our official birthday. So this is really our birthday. 75 years of being a city. That's a really long time for a small town next to a big city like this. So congratulations to us. I do have something for you, but before I do that, I just wanted to give a little shout out to somebody who was not recognized as somebody who was a really rock or cornerstone in making sure that the transition between leaderships to make sure everything was done on time. And that's Rosie. She was definitely a rock in making sure that everything gets paid. I'm missing 3 signatures from this, both chiefs. And Rosie, we'd like to have you sign it as well. But what I have is we've preserved one of the flyers that we had made. We have Tejas Brothers and everybody who played and then sign it. Everybody who was involved. This could be put into and just a little bit keepsake for us, just to remember.
Absolutely.
Like I said, all we're missing is post you.
Thanks, Jeff. Also, from an update from last month's council in reference to doing some of the street services overlays, we should start seeing some progress with that in 6 weeks. We'll probably start here in Koya Edwards here in front of the City Hall. Then obviously we'll go from there, but that's the first part you'll start seeing, and you'll see it in 6 weeks. New Hope closure. I believe we're still on a postpone trying to get some more information on that. I don't think do you have a date yet, either one of the chiefs?
I'm still seeing the 20th, which is tomorrow.
Okay, so hopefully we're trying to get a section for public safety bill to utilize to get through if needed. It will be only for public safety. It's not going to be for anyone else. It'll be a makeshift road for us to be able to cross the creek to get there. But that's looking promising as well. And that's just from the property owners. That's something that the city itself is doing. It's not coming from TxDOT. So it's something that we're trying to make sure we can still provide the service for our citizens. And that we should be okay with doing that. Even with it's said with the railroad track and the closure of New Hope, it's for the most part should not delay any of our response times beyond a normal response. And the reason why I indicate that, at times, whenever we're responding to calls, we're delayed by a train. It's not uncommon for that to happen. It's when the train is stopped. That's whenever the time really starts paying attention to it. We have been in contact with the railroad in reference to hopefully not stopping. Obviously, they're not going to give us a promise of anything, but we have been in communications with them for the train not to stop. Obviously, they indicated they'll do the best they can as well. However, if it doesn't, we're in the process of getting a makeshift road, at least for the fire department and the police department, to get to the other side. So it's in the work of progress, but it will be done. I'd also like to introduce one of our new chiefs, Mike Hogan. He was sworn in July the 1st as our new chief of police. So I'd like to welcome him, and obviously everybody. If you have not met him, please go by and shake his hand, tell him congratulations and welcome him being here. Obviously, he's been here a year prior to this. He was our operations commander as well, prior to being promoted to chief. With that, I would like to give you some background of Chief Hogan. And I'm going to start with his resume, and I'm not going to read it to a T. It is multiple pages. So it's like some of them from last month. So you'll have to bear with me a little bit, but I'll get through as fast as I can. He has a command level experience in planning, managing and directing special events and emergency operations. Some of those examples is multitude of critical incidents such as homicides, bridge jumpers, barricaded persons, suicide persons, police involvements and shootings, commanding, supervising areas related to large scale incidents such as the Super Bowl, the NBA finals, and events at the AT&T Stadium, and school operations with Arlington ISD, university commencement ceremonies, and WNBA games at UT Arlington, College Park, commanding protest operations with Arlington community parties, protests, DWI task force, details of other agencies, protection details for high-ranking UT system operations, such as admirals at Raven and other high-profile events, writing, implementing, and managing Kennedale ISD COVID-19 protocols and procedures in partnership with district leaders and Tarrant County Department of Health. Writing and presenting operational plans, incident action plans, after action plans, successful completion of all command levels of FEMA, National Incident Management System. He has had oversight and managed experience with modern policing technology, including smart camera systems, data storage, computer-aided dispatch, mobile computer terminals, and examples include dispatch, jail operations, implement new software, oversaw the completion of dispatch operations at UT Brownsville, planning, acquisitions, implementations, experience with contracts and government purchasing guidelines, grant writing, grant management, a Master of Business Administration degree in strategic leadership, currently enrolled in Liberty University School of Government's Criminal Justice for a PhD program. Have a strong work ethic and track record of helping organizations succeed. A student and a firm believer in principles of community-oriented and procedural justice policy models, having successfully implemented the COP program and strategies to prevent crime and build community partnerships throughout his career. All that's well and good, but here's the best one of all of it. This is his purpose statement for himself and who he is as a person. He believes that God's purpose is to have him here in Kennedale to help protect and serve his community. As such, his purpose is to be a servant leader, follow the purpose set for him by him. His purpose is to serve as a protector and motivator of others to serve to the best of their abilities and to maintain a standard of service that our community deserves from their police department. He accepts the welcome, his purpose, and will continue to honor God through being a humble and faithful public servant. He believes there is no greater purpose and honor in life than to be a leader of those who are charged with protecting others by who he cannot protect themselves. Chief Hogan. Also, if you have not met our fire chief, which he's been around for a while, so I believe everybody in the room knows Chief Brown, and I'll do the same thing for him. Fire Chief James Brown has served the emergency service community since 1984 with the support of his wife, Gina. His career in the fire service began with the Burleson Volunteer Fire Department in 1984. He was hired by the city of North Richland Hills Fire Department in 1987 and promoted through the years to the rank of battalion chief. While there, he served as the shift commander, training coordinator, and the emergency medical service coordinator. In addition, he served as the hazardous materials coordinator for 14 cities, city emergency response team. Chief Brown was appointed as the fire chief for the city of Kennedale in December of 2018. In this capacity, he has served as a fire marshal and the city's emergency management coordinator. The progressive leadership style and vision has resulted in many positive changes for the organization. Chief Brown has an associate's degree from Tarrant County College in Fire Protection Technology and a Bachelor of Applied Arts and Science in Emergency Management Administration from West Texas A&M University. In addition to his degrees, he completed the Fire Service Chief Executive Officer program from Texas A&M Engineering Extension Service in March of 2015. He is a licensed paramedic and holds numerous fire certifications, including Master Fire Inspector, Master Fire Investigator, Master Fire Instructor, and Officer 1, 2, 3, and 4. Kennedale Fire Department's mission. The mission of the fire department is the protection of life, property of the citizens of Kennedale through public education, fire prevention code enforcement, and the response of highly trained professional emergency response personnel. That's Chief Brown. I think that's all I have for now. And we'll have some more next month as well, so stay tuned.
Can you hear me now? Okay, great. I'll tell you what I've been up to this week. I just got through meeting with one of the persons that is running for county judge, Miss Deborah, and her last name is Peoples, good West Texas lady. Speaks fluent Spanish. A lot of good things about her. So I invite you to talk to her. And of course, obviously I would be at a loss if I didn't ask her for money in case she got county judge. Because it seems like Miss Joplin has a pretty good record of asking when you don't even expect to receive. And she did. Congratulations, Jan. Job well done. Never do know when you're talking to someone, when you ask the magic number or the magic way of doing things, when something is going to come in your parade. I asked her, what would we do talking about things? about her background. Of course, she's obviously a high executive with AT&T and a very intelligent lady, degreed, not afraid of work. I asked her that question too. I said, what can you help us? She asked me, she says, what do you need? And I give her a list, and I hope Daryl will approve. Little humor there. But anyhow, I asked for some special things and called Dick Price Road, a few things like that. But anyhow, that's what I've done in one part. Another part, I've of course got involved in the question about the ponds, and when we're working on the projects over here with the second phase by the turnaround, the high school turnaround, and that's been we're working on it still. So I'll just leave it at that. I should say Daryl's working on it. And we've got several other things that's being worked on at the same time, so his hands are full. And I appreciate your saying, hey, we don't all do it at once, guys. It's not going to happen, and I'll take full blame for it. Okay. The other update I have for you is that, and this is a little humor. Mr. Austin and myself got together, and I said, what would a young Texas boy like? Just been born to your fine family. And he said, he thought about it a couple of days, and his wife did, of course, give us direction. He said, a pair of cowboy boots in a size 2. And I said, Roger that. They're coming. So you got to have some fun. And we'll go on from there. A lot of other things, but again, of minor nature. We cleared a lot of things up that we've had, and we continue to look forward to other opportunities. We've got one man that's looking for a question on the Dick Price Road because he's actually wanting to buy some land out there to put a commercial operation in. And I'm not the only one. Every one of the council people have someone that they're working with to bring into the city and turn them over to Daryl's group and find out where we're at and what we can do to help them as well as houses. So we're working on that one. And then we're also working, and I say we in the sense of the group, are working on the P&Z issues. And I think those are on Daryl's desk at this point, as far as the small things that can occur quite easily with the council's approval. And I look forward to seeing those and seeing them. And the last item on reports, obviously, is if she so wishes, Ms. Lemire, I would love for you to talk some more about your financial pictures, because that is a excellent job. Once you've seen this thing, it's not a budget. It is actual facts. Very well done, very professional. So would you care to expound some more on what you've got, ma'am?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've provided some financial reports in your packets. So in terms of closing the books for the month of June, the financial statements look very healthy. Yes, Mr. Connor. So we look very healthy. All of the funds, revenue exceed expenditures except for 3 of the funds. Those are minimal amounts, and there's nothing in there that concerns me. There's fund balance that will cover each one of those. I've also provided you a cash statement, just cash balance with a variance from the first of the year to where we stand at the end of June. And I've analyzed any variance greater than 100,000. Again, there's nothing there that would concern me. I've also provided you with economic development financial statement. This is a separate corporation set up underneath the city. That's why it's a separate financial statement. They undergo a separate audit every year. Again, very healthy numbers for the Economic Development Corporation. And then I did receive some questions from council members regarding our debt, our outstanding debt. And so I put together a debt schedule by year so that you could see when the bonds and long-term obligations are going to mature. And so with that, are there any questions or comments?
James, I know you've got something you're thinking about.
You're
Get to
welcome.
grinning like that. Go for it.
Oh, me? So sorry. I was meaning to actually call you earlier today, but I had to take my parents to the airport. One of our oldest family friends is passing away in Rochester, so they had to go back for the funeral. So I wasn't able to call you earlier. I did have a couple of questions about the monthly financial report, though.
Mhm.
And most of it's on the front page. And I'm trying to, I can read this plain as day. So I'm just going to go ahead and go with it. In 2021, last year, our year-to-date was $7,315,808, actual 8.9. That was what was budgeted. I'm assuming. I didn't even look into that, but my question here is, are we going to hit the budget considering that last year's actual was 8.9? And at this time last year, we had 7.3. We're 86,810 behind that total, and that does concern me.
So last year at this time, are you talking about the general fund, I assume?
Yes, Fund 01, general fund revenues.
Right. So in the general fund and in revenues, our year to date last year was 7.3 million.
Mhm,
We're currently at 7.2 million.
mhm.
So I do believe that we will hit our revenue target of 8 million for our budget this year.
My question is, I mean, I was there, I should know this answer, but I'm just kind of gobsmacked. Why are we budgeted for a little over, just a little over 8 million when last year's actual was 8.9?
Since I did not prepare your
Mhm.
current year budget, I'm
Mhm.
sorry, but I do not know the answer to that.
Because when we took a penny off of the tax rate, that was in equivalence to $90,000. $90,000 doesn't equal 900. So I was just a little concerned that we might not hit that. You know, a city's supposed to grow year over year over year, or
Mhm.
any business. So I was just a little curious as to, how do we lose $900,000? I have no clue. Fund 1 expense, mayor council 2021 year to date, as of this time last year was 58,785. I'm guessing the actual was the budget of 122,505. However, for this year, we're sitting at 130,263 budgeted for 173, only 42,762. Can you explain the stark contrast of the numbers from last year to this year by any chance?
I would have to go in and do a deep dive variance analysis, but I could do that for you.
Okay, because that's a relatively stark contrast for me. Fund 01 expense total. Year to date for 2021, 5.8, actual 8.7. This year we're at, so far, we've increased to 5.9. So we're on track. Budget is, 8.9. So we have 2.98 essentially remaining. Are you optimistic we'll be able to go ahead and, I know what it looks like here in the total fund. It has a red number there of 899,431 as a shortfall. Are you confident that we could either hit that target or surpass it?
So that $900,000 shortfall, That's budget.
Yes,
And that was expected
yes.
budget that there would be a shortfall. I do not believe you're going to have a $900,000 shortfall. this year.
That's why I was questioning it. It's like, do you believe that we could possibly, surpass that and probably be in the green by the end of the year?
I don't think that we'll be in the green at the end of the year. I think we're going to be very close to revenue and expense equal. So I think we'll be right at zero.
My next cause for concern was the Diamond Jubilee. It did cost a little bit more than we had hoped, or that I had hoped. But with
And when
that,
you say a little bit more, it's about
it's fine. Yeah.
$500.
I know on here it looks, it
Mhm.
says 10,554, but $10,000 of that is coming out of the city council budget for that. So the 554.38, it's minuscule, very minuscule. Where are we looking to get that money to cover that expense, that unbudgeted expense?
Of course, that would have to come from the general fund. And I will look to the city manager to help me identify where that would come from. Normally, it would come from either a park fund or from our general fund.
Okay. Besides that, I think that we, as well as you, we're in excellent shape besides just that. I don't see any other issues except for the three that were very, very, very minuscule. And again, that equals, $31. One of them was $31, one equaled $726 and one equaled $6,423, which, is very good. I don't really have anything else. I think the cash fund here is exceedingly good. I mean, everything on here exceeding revenue exceeds. I mean, this time last year, we were looking at possible, unfortunately, a very bad shortfall.
Oh,
And looking at this, I'm pleasantly surprised to see that we're actually looking in a better direction than we initially thought. So I just want to say thank you for putting all this together. I know it's very taxing and very tiring, and you have done an amazing job with this. Thank you.
thank you very much.
I want to remind everyone too of what I said a while ago. This is not budget figures. These are actual figures.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of difference when you're looking at budgeting versus actual numbers in a more complex accounting system. So I think it is an excellent job. And in 23 years of living in Kennedale, it's the first one I've seen that I feel a great deal of confidence. Now, there's other methodologies, so I'm not saying that as a criticism of prior mayors and prior council people, but I'm just saying I feel very, very good about what we've accomplished. And I should say what Ann's accomplished with the city manager. That's what you pay us for. That is a reasonable expectation. So I'll leave it at that and just say, well, John, well done, another well done. And we just keep putting them together. And after all, you own the city. This is what you deserve. So moving on from there, you want to go ahead and go on with this request to speak? Okay. Okay, we're going to do the citizen forum now. And again, we've got two people that wish, I believe that's correct. Three people that wish to speak. And I'll call the first one up, and what you need to do obviously is come to the microphone, state your name, address, telephone number, and then the topic that you wish to discuss. And you have 3 minutes to speak on that. Would you time out this, Rosie? First one would be obviously Roy Stout.
Name's Roy Stott, 1260 Elmbrook, Kennedale 76060. I've been in Kennedale for about 20 years. I know many of the council people and the citizens. We had an HOA meeting a couple weeks ago, and it was brought up that the apartment development over there across from Kroger appeared to have some violations. They were allowing water to run off and go into people's backyards in our HOA, which is Steeplechase Estates. And also they were building a dumpster storage area without any enclosure. So I brought that up to Daryl and Hollis and called out the Unified Development Code. They are in violation of. That's a concern for me because it appears that the city, the previous administration, didn't have anybody to go inspect real time the building of those apartments. Obviously, if our neighbors can find that they had issues, you would think the city inspector would. That is my concern going forward, that the city owns up to this. I think they can, and have someone over there to inspect and make sure that the developer is following the code so we don't have any more issues with this. That's our number one concern for me. I live on the other side, but I can still see the apartments, but it's going to bring down the value of our property because of all the runoff and the trash that could be there because the garbage disposal area is not enclosed. The other thing that is a little related is everybody's talking about the income they're going to get for those apartments for the taxes. That's great. But you know, the city doesn't have a ladder truck for the fire. So where is that money going to come from to pay and buy a ladder truck? You got apartments across the street, and you got one across from Kroger I'm talking about. The money's got to come from somewhere. So you just can't say we're going to get $50,000 increase in taxes and not realize that you got expenses that go with that. So that's all I had. Thank you for your time. If you, Hollis and Daryl, if you'd like to talk more afterwards, we can, but I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Roy. We appreciate your comments. Okay, the next person up would be Mr. Jonathan.
Hello there, I'm Jonathan Sheffron. I've been living in the city over a decade now. Moved to Kennedale from Arlington, and I'm the president of the HOA that Roy lives in, that the mayor lives in, that I'm a neighbor of Chief Mike, a couple houses down. And I do just kind of agree with Roy's sentiment. I think the past city P&Z has really dropped the ball when it came to the Alta apartments. So I think it is incumbent. I've lost multiple friends who live on the other side, Coker, people on the board, who, because of the lack of oversight, have left Kennedale completely and have sold their houses at a loss of what it was worth before they went in. And so I really do appreciate, the mayor didn't mention that he came to a recent HOA meeting to hear some of the concerns the neighbors had, and the city manager came to that, the chief came to that. And I do appreciate their willingness to listen to us. And I know the city manager is working on some of these things. My heart would be that we try and use every influence that we have as a city to make it right for the people who are most impacted by the dropped balls. And we mentioned the runoff. I got tons of pictures. The city manager has all those. If you want to reach out to me, I'd be glad to forward any of those to you, of just the damage caused by this, and just some of the lack of just inconsiderate behavior of the developer over there that just doesn't need to happen. And my last thing I was just going to mention is there just seems to be a difference of understanding of what we as citizens are looking for as far as inspections go. We really do want the city to inspect the Unified Building Code when things are going in, and we care very little as a neighborhood about things like electricians, plumbing. That's kind of the residents there. We care that things are not placed like on our border of our property that should not be allowed to be placed there. So that's the kind of inspecting, the kind of enforcement that we're very interested in the city helping us with. So thank you very much.
Thank you,
Oh,
Jonathan.
I want to say just one last thing.
Okay.
One of our neighbors really wanted me to mention just the issue, and I know the city manager is with the height of the fence and just the danger. And she sent me pictures of if people were to come through that fence, she would end up in her living room and things like that. So I know that you're working on that, and I'm praying for wisdom for you. And if there's anything you need from us, let us know.
Thank you, Jonathan. Miss Sarah, you're the next one up. Appreciate you coming down.
Sarah Johnson, also the Executive Director of Senior Outreach Kennedale. I'm here today to make a couple announcements. Time changes because of the bad extreme heat we're having right now. We're going to be early. Our hours will be earlier Tuesdays at 8:30 to 12:30 and Thursdays 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. because it is dangerously hot out there. I don't want my seniors to get out anymore. They can also call me at 817-333-4178, and I would deliver it if they don't want to get out in the heat. That way we can plan to get the groceries out to the seniors, and we're not in the heat that long either. Okay, August 13th. I was supposed to have one this past weekend. I did have a garage sale, but we made that for the Kennedale Senior Center and the Kennedale Senior the Outreach Program. We have 3 families in our community that have high medical bills because of cancer. So on August 12th and 13th, I'm going to have another community-wide garage sale for those 3 families, strictly for them, not for the outreach, not for the senior center. It's strictly for them. It's going to be at my house at 700 Crestview Drive. We did really well this past Saturday with donations and selling. We did over $500. And so I'm just going to split that with the Kennedale Senior Fund. Okay. So these families I've known for a while, and we help them. No, I'm not going to tell anybody their names. They can come and meet them on the 12th and 13th. They will be there selling crafts and things they have to sell as well. And we have already had people calling for donations for items to sell for that garage. So I really appreciate all the community's help. And we also have a Project Cool Again. We were available because of good citizens like Sandra Lee helped us get 4 AC units for 4 families that had no AC at all in their homes. So we were able to do that. Please don't ask me people's names because it's really a privacy issue. Some people don't want to know people to know their struggles or whatever. They're just private people. So it's not that I don't want to tell you. It's just that they've asked me for privacy, and that's what I'm going to do. Okay. So we also need floor fans. If anybody wants to drop some floor fans off, that's also a need. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Ms. D'Amico, Sergeant.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tamiko Sargent. I live at 905 Shady Oaks, Kennedale. My bio is nothing compared to the gentleman that you spoke about earlier. And I want to let the council know that I really appreciate every individual on here. You guys have a strong government right now, and I really do appreciate it. But my main objective here is to ask you guys to consider the information that I did give each of you, because the money that we will be able to contribute to the city of Kennedale. My heartache right now, as I was sitting back there, is how much everything is just basically related to just Kennedale and not in relationship as far as the minorities. And since I'm African-American, I'll speak on that. I love to hear Mr. Connor when he asked him about those numbers. And I like number, I'm a number person too. And I would really hope that Chief, I'm sorry, no disrespect, I'm sorry, would consider everything on there, because You guys are building a lot of apartments, you guys are building a lot of everything, but you do not have anything that's gonna help as much as what we're trying to put forth. And I would like for you guys to consider on contributing, because obviously the Jubilee, you know, our event we did on our own. And the African Americans in this community will be here. I know we're paying our taxes, we're paying our votes. I mean, you're gonna count our votes. And we would like for you guys to contribute and to help us do the things that we are seeking to do. Because the cities mostly should have a 100-year plan. Right now, you guys are 75. And we have 25, and I don't know if I'm gonna be around those 25, but the long haul, this program that we're trying to set up is going to benefit a lot of people in the community, not just one certain group. So with that being said, you guys get together, let Mr. Counter do the counting, because it seems like he knows a lot about the numbers, no disrespect to you. But with that being said, consider and know that we are here, African American, we are here, the organization. And if nothing else, I really wasn't planning on speaking, but my heart was just aching after I heard about Kennedale, but it wasn't really speaking on anything that's going to help our children, our seniors, our military. I mean, overall in general, that's the plan that I have set up. And we want you to be involved. If not, it shall be done. And that's God's will. So thank you, guys.
Thank you, D'Amico. Okay, the next one up is Derek. Is that correct? Okay, thank you, Derek. To make sure that I got that right. I got the Kelly, but I've left the glasses off, so you know how that goes.
All right. My name is Derek Kelly, 110 Peachtree Court. I'm here on behalf of Kennedale Youth Association. I was just voted in as president this February. However, I have served in this community for going on 10 years now, affectionately known in this community as Coach Derek. And I want to just take the opportunity to come down here today to just inform you of the course correction and the direction Kennedale Youth Association is going. Our association, your association, has been a stalwart in this community from what I've experienced for over 50 years. However, the past several have come with some challenges, not just with facilities and locations to play, practice, and things of that nature, but we also had challenges with COVID and just, you know, financial burdens and the number of things. Don't want to bore you with that information, but I do want to tell you where we stand today. We're right now sitting at about 200 plus youth within this community that we have been able to draw in. A lot of that energy and a lot of that time has been spent with a dynamic board that is supporting me, of volunteers who are equally committed to the task of building community for the children that are through our programs. It is not simply about baseball, football, cheerleading with us. What it is about connecting the kids of this community within the community that they live in. We had the awesome opportunity to participate in the Jubilee celebration, also with the Juneteenth celebration, and we're actively looking for more opportunities. Tomorrow, the Kennedale Youth Association board members will be at First United Methodist participating in the, I guess, monthly dinner that they provide to the community. That's the type of engagement that we are seeking to do. That's what we want to create for our kids, doing our civic duty and emulating that for them. So they sit here, you know, 20 to 30 years from now and occupy the same post that I sit in. So what I ask for you guys, as you see faces, you know, board members pop up here and there, we will need your support. We can do a lot, but we can't do it all on our own. But I just want to take the time to introduce you guys, introduce myself to you, and just get familiar with my face. I'll be around. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. We appreciate you. That finishes the request to speak. Sir, do you have a request to speak? Sir, Do you have a request to speak?
Yes, sir.
Okay, come on up.
I'm working on
Oh, you're working on it? Okay.
it. Hey, guys, from the steeplechase. My name is John.
7 West Broadway. I think I met you in my yard. When you gonna fix these roads so I don't have to? They look pathetic. Come on. You got neighborhoods that have great streets, great, this is Old Town. This is Old Town. Why do I have to patch roads myself? Why do they look like I'm in a third world country? Fix them. I rent my house for $500 a month from you guys. That's how much taxes I pay. And yet my road looks like it's worse than Retta. Come on. That's all I have to say.
Thank you for your input, sir.
You know, your homeless problem is really getting bad down there. I just came from work. And it was really bad.
Thank you, sir.
See you next month.
I was gonna say what road. So you wanted to speak at the end? You're it.
Well, I was, but the ones I was talking to just left. I was just going to give an update on the Alta apartment complex. Some of the complaints that I've received over the past week. I did talk to the developer in reference to some of the complaints. For the trash bin, it is up to code. There's nothing wrong with it. It hadn't been totally completed yet. There's no dumpster, there's nothing in it, but it is up to regulations for the UDC. One of the other complaints was dealing with the lots, the parking lots, which it is, went up there while it was dark and it does light up their backyard. That's something they look at getting corrected. They indicated we can put some new different light fixtures on there, hopefully to be able to prevent that from going into their backyard. So that was a positive. Another complaint was one of them that they brought up as well is the possibility of a car jumping the curb and then going over the side of the embankment of it. They're looking at possibly being able to put some more parking stops. So basically you'll come up to like you normally do at Walmart or whatever, you have that little concrete deal, and then you'll have the curb. So hopefully that will prevent some type of accident from occurring. However, there is an expense for that. You know, it's not anything that's regulated that they have to do. It's just something that hopefully that may help. And if it's under their budget, they indicated they will entertain it. The other one was stormwater drainage and the trash as well. Obviously, it's still under construction, so some of the trash they've been receiving in the backyards is from the construction itself. They're almost to the completion date. They did put up a privacy fence to help prevent some of the trash from going over into the yard. Before that, they just had a construction fence up. So now that has prevented some of the trash from blowing over. And obviously, for the most part, we're getting a summer south wind, so that's helping as well. But anyway, I just wanted to give them an update where we're at on the complaints, and the builder is, or developer is working with us to get some of it straightened out. That's it.
I'll get with them tomorrow.
Okay.
Can I
Oh.
ask you a quick question on that about
do.
the three-story apartments? Is that allowed? Like as far as the safety on because we have two apartments now. that
I'm
are
really
three
gonna have to
stories.
interrupt you. That's not on the agenda.
Oh, okay.
The staff does have the right under the Open Meetings Act to respond to specific requests, but we
Okay.
really can't talk, deliberate
Okay.
about it, so we're kind of. we've
Well,
left
they
the
did talk
agenda.
about that. He did talk about that. So
Staff can respond to it with a specific answer if he has one.
No, not right now.
Okay, past that one. So let's go to 5, consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda have been previously discussed require little or no deliberation or are considered to be routine by the council. If the discussion is desired, then an item will be removed from the consent agenda. Authorize city manager to implement each item in accordance with the staff's recommendations. Council, are there any items you would like to remove?
Mr. Mayor, I would like to remove item number 3, Encore rate case approval of steering committee resolution from the consent agenda so that we may have further discussion on it.
I'll second that. Oh, I know. I was going to have him. I was going to remove it too. So that's why I said I'll just second it. I know it.
In spite of my instructions, I'm going to say what he just got through saying.
I'd like to go ahead and make a motion on the 2 remaining items on the consent agenda for approval.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded. Everyone that says yes, raise the right hand. We'll try different hands and see what you can do with that. Okay, the motion passes. Okay, let's go to item 3 on the consent agenda. Is there any comments like to be made?
So I know that we've briefly discussed this over the past couple of months. But I was hoping that we could have an update and overview as to where we're at with the Encore rate increase. My understanding was that the League of Cities were going to go back and try to renegotiate that rate increase with Encore. And so I was curious as to if they were successful, and if they were successful, what the decrease in the new rate was, or the effective rate was, and just for some additional information as to what we're being asked to approve today.
Yeah, go ahead and start it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So in joining the steering committee, we are not necessarily agreeing to the new rate that Encore has proposed.
That's correct.
This is our opportunity to challenge that.
It is.
Thank you. No further discussion on my part.
They're also requesting a decrease as well. I think it's currently at 11.2% is what they're asking, Encore is asking to receive. As a percentage, I'm not aware of the actual percentage they're looking for.
Yeah, because I don't think our citizens deserve any kind of an 11.2% increase or any kind of increase because of ERCOT's failure to weatherize a grid. I'm not about to get Greg Abbott any more money either. So with that being said, this is, if I could use my words like I want to use them, it would be very expletive rich. This is disgusting. That Encore would ask the residents to pay more because of ERCOT's failure, Greg Abbott's failure, and our Texas legislature's failure to weatherize a grid that they knew was messed up over a decade ago. This absolutely makes me sick. And I don't care what anyone's political affiliation is in this room, and I generally don't care at all, but I'm not going to have people in our city pay more because of people's failure in Austin. End of story on that.
I'm all for joining the steering committee.
What would happen if we actually were to do it by ourselves? Can you define time consuming and expensive? I want to know what the step process. $169. As our city attorney, what would, I know what you're saying is to go ahead and join the steering committee, but as our attorney, what would be, would this probably go into the factors of millions of dollars if we did this on our own, or would it go like, hundreds of thousands? Okay. Okay, thank you.
Is there any other discussion points on this? Okay. We need a motion and a second.
We'll make a motion to approve consent agenda item number 3E3 Encore rate case related to joining the 169 City Coalition Steering Committee.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion made, seconded. Can I see left hands for all that agree? Vote. Motion carries. Okay, items for individual consideration. First item is city investment report and consideration of policy amendments. And Ms. Ann will be doing this also.
We are required to review our investment policy annually. And I went through the investment policy and I'm recommending a couple of changes to the investment policy. The first one is that the investment policy on page 2 says that we should look at the highest rates obtainable at the time of the investment. So if we were to do that, we would purchase very risky investments or we would purchase very long-term investments. And I'm not sure that that's a prudent investment concept for the city of Kennedale. So I'm asking that we remove those words from the investment policy. Additionally, there's words on page 2 that says that we should pursue an aggressive approach to investments. And I would like to change the word aggressive to be prudent. Because I think we should be prudent in our investment policy. Additionally, currently, repurchase agreements and reverse repurchase agreements are acceptable investments under our current investment policy, but I would consider those to be very risky investments. And I would never recommend those type of investments for a city like Kennedale. So with that, there is a requirement in our current policy and in state law that we have a resolution from council stating that there was a review of the investment policy and any changes that were made. Additionally, I come before you to tell you that when I became the finance director 80 days ago, I made some changes on our accounts. So I'm confessing kind of a mea culpa here. I found that we had signatories who were deceased and who were employees who had left the city, previous employees. So I very quickly made some changes. Currently, check signers, I have our city manager, Mr. Darrell Hull, and our mayor, Mr. Hollis Matthews. I'm confessing that I did that, and I would like you to confirm that that's acceptable. Additionally, for our investment accounts, listed are our city manager, Mr. Darrell Hull, myself, your finance director, and Tanisha Sherman, who's our accountant. So I ask you to confirm those decisions. So then lastly, we are very blessed as a city that there's $21.8 million in the bank. And 80 days ago when I came and I realized that the city was earning less than 1% on those investments, I said, surely we can do better. So I come before you today and I've laid out for you in the investment report how, we could go with international investments, except our US economy is very, very strong. Our Federal Reserve over the last quarter has increased interest rates. We have an opportunity to purchase US Treasuries for either a 6-month or a 1-year term at about a 3% rate currently. We have a very strong economy. There's no reason why I would recommend anything than investing in our government-backed US securities. And I think that that's a good prudent investment for this city. So I'm requesting that you would allow the opening of a brokerage account at Frost Bank, located here locally in Mansfield, and $4 million in 6-month US Treasuries and $4 million in 1-year Treasuries. And then we currently have some money in a Techstar account. I'm recommending we close that. And TexPool has the option to invest in TexPool or TexPool Prime. TexPool Prime earns about 2 basis points higher than TexPool. So I'm recommending we split the balance and invest half in TexPool Prime and half in TexPool. So that's the investment strategy that I would recommend for the next quarter. And at the end of the quarter, we look again and see if there's other investment opportunities for us. And so that's my recommendation to council. And I will entertain any questions you may have and start with you, Mr. Connor.
Not so much of a question, but more of a comment. This is very, very. I'm happy you're here. I feel like I just want to cry actually seeing some of this, but I would like the council to know this as well. In 2 weeks, the Fed is going to meet again, where they are expected to raise interest rates 0.25%, actually 0.75%, possibly even more. So there is more of a advantage to getting US Treasury backed, so that we can possibly, increase our interest. when you gave this to me and I sat down and I read it, I think the only problem was that I had with it is that it didn't have my name on it. Because this is something that I would just be proud of. And for you to come out with this, and for me, someone who is in finance, someone who did this for a living for nearly a decade of his life, I'm bravo. Thank you. I would do nothing but absolutely pass this with flying colors, as from one person to another. In this field, this is hands down probably one of the best investment reports I've seen. It's probably one of the it's probably one of the best things I've ever seen. Besides, a CEO, besides a multi-billion-dollar corporation coming out with, 1,000 sheets of paper, and you're just sitting there going, oh, fun. This is pretty good. This is right up there. It's very top notch. I appreciate your diligence. I appreciate everything that you've done. I don't know what else to say. I mean, if I can dip you in gold and put you on a pedestal outside, I would.
Thank you very much. And I should say that this is a joint effort of your investment committee. And as defined in our investment policy, that's your city manager, Mr. Darrell Hall, and myself. We have met multiple times over the last 80 days, and we have talked with different financial institutions as we've identified in the report, and we jointly came up with this strategy.
I think the only problem would be is I'd like to use a local banks like, the ones in Canada, like Wells Fargo, but I understand, as I've already told you, I think Frost is an excellent choice.
So we do have two financial institutions in the city of Kennedale. We did talk to the EECU, and they do not offer investment opportunities for municipalities. They're really structured to offer investment opportunities for individuals and corporations, but not municipalities.
Yeah.
We do have our depository accounts at Wells Fargo, and we cannot deal with the Wells Fargo across the street. Our Wells Fargo representative is a customer service representative for municipalities located in Tucson, Arizona, and his staff is located in North Carolina.
Yeah.
And so we do have accounts with Wells Fargo, which is the other financial institution within Kennedale, but they will not let us deal with our local bank.
I have a question. Is Wood Forest National Bank located in Kennedale? The one that's in the Walmart at 20? I know that.
Technically, it's in Arlington.
Okay.
And I
However, we
did
do-
not talk to Wood Forest National Bank, but I would be willing to visit them during the next quarter and see if they have investment opportunities for municipalities, and then bring that back to you in the next quarterly report.
The reason why Frost Bank was chosen, they're also a member, platinum member of our Chamber of Commerce, and that's the reason why they were chosen.
And for
Well, and not just that, but in talking to their investment representatives, they're very knowledgeable. Out of the 4 institutions that we spoke with, I think Daryl and I were most impressed with the Frost Bank representatives.
thank you for your due diligence.
Thank you.
I don't have anything further to say. I think I've said enough, but I bow to you, my queen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Why were you never in a college course to teach me this stuff? I mean, never mind. It's a water under the bridge, but thank you.
Are there any other questions? Thank you.
I just want to thank you for taking signatures off that don't even exist here in the city anymore. Thank you for looking at it. Thank you for taking action, and thank you for cleaning this up and making us better. I so appreciate you.
I would like to go ahead and make a motion to approve the city investment report and consideration of policy amendments as it stands with no changes.
I'll second that.
we're bringing Freeds and Nichols into the city once again. First, we're asking them to help us in consideration with the Fort Worth water and sewer operations. Freeds and Nichols is representing them and their contracts and what their agreements, what they hold. They also represent Arlington and with their water and sewer contracts of dealing with construction with. So obviously we're sitting in the middle between both entities. Currently we receive water from Fort Worth and sewer, and we receive water and sewer from Arlington. Some of the challenges that we have moving forward is dealing with Freeds and Nichols to be able to help us implement some of the policies or understanding Fort Worth or Arlington's policies to recommend what direction we may be able to go. For instance, one of the challenges we're involved in is our western side of our city. We're challenged with replacing the sewer line. Freeds and Nichols will be able to help us implement a plan to be able to move forward and see which entity will best be for the city. So for Fort Worth, we have a sewer pipe that's going through the junkyards basically. So that we're capable of tapping in there, besides tapping in with Arlington, which is going under I-20. Roughly, we're being challenged with approximately a $15 million upgrade of their pipe, their sewer infrastructure for us to have the capacity to go that direction. So our options are hopefully to be able to go with Fort Worth. With Freeds and Nichols understanding the concept between both cities, they will help us be able to move forward and choose the right entity to provide that service for us. Shield Engineering is also involved in it as well. They're actually the ones that are representing us at this point. But Freeds and Nichols is actually with their background with all three cities actually, they'll be able to direct us in the direction we need to go. I'm asking for up to 50,000 in fees to be able to give us that direction. I do not anticipate that to that level by any means. It's just a door that opens for us to get whatever documentation we need between both entities. It'll be by the hour. It's not going to be a flat fee of 50 grand. It's going to be as needed. Once again, Shield is the one that's representing us at the current time. Even with that said, we'll be putting in RFQs and RFPs for our engineering that will come in October. So it could change in the future as far as our engineering services. But Freeds and Nichols, as they understand the whole concept of the sewer for Fort Worth, Arlington, and us. So they're the ones that truly can give us a true direction, what's going to benefit Kennedale in the best way.
I have a question. So once this agreement is entered into with Freeds and Nichols, I understand that Shield is currently representing us now. Would they continue to have any involvement with this process, or would we strictly be working with Freeds and Nichols?
They're more of a recommendation. So in other words, they could go see what Fort Worth has, what the capabilities are. If they're able to sustain what we're going to push into their system. Same thing with Arlington. Arlington's indicating they're at capacity. So Freeds and Nichols can come in and actually say what our flow is, what our volume is going into that system. And they can actually even give us a recommendation of what that cost analysis should be for the future development of Kennedale. Which ultimately, that's what we're looking at for our western side of our metroplex or our city.
With all the development that's going in down in the west side of Tarrant County and in the southern sides of Tarrant County, and most notably in the northern sides of Tarrant County of Fort Worth, Fort Worth encompasses a great deal of space. With all that development going on, plus the growth of Kennedale, is that not going to put them at capacity as well in the future?
Yeah, at one point, obviously it will. And that's the whole part of upgrading our infrastructure to be able to be prepared for that growth. And obviously Fort Worth is doing the same thing. They continue to upgrade their infrastructure to be able to hold this capacity. It's just kind of like the water. They're in the business of making money. That's the reason why they sell water to us. The sewers is no different. The wastewater is a profitable business for entities. Unfortunately, we're on their mercy to a certain extent unless we want to go in and make our own wastewater plant. And at this point, I don't think that's really an option.
It could be. I don't like third-party contractors, especially what's happening in other areas around the city. They're not held to a certain standard. They're not held to, their feet aren't held to the fire. They blindly check things off without even taking a look at it. So how do we know they're not going to do the same thing? Yep, it looks good. Did we visit them? Yeah, we visited them. No, we didn't. That's what's happening right now with current areas within our own city with certain developments, possible developments, future developments, and I'm quite sick of it. We need standards in this city. And right now we don't have very many. If this is something that we have to do, I would preferably, buy one of our own or, make one of our own. I mean, we got the land. Let's do it. But in the meantime, I'm just not very comfortable working with third parties all of a sudden because they're not being held to the same standards that I would hold somebody to. If someone was my employee and I expected them to do A, B, C, and D, and they said, yeah, I did A, B, C, and D, but I found out they only did A and D, I'd fire them like that.
Councilman Connor, if I may, I believe that's where oversight comes in, whether they're city employees or third-party contractors. If you don't have oversight and management, you're going to run into the exact same situation, regardless of who the entity is. So if we're talking about a professional services firm that has a detailed scope of work that is going to be verified and managed appropriately, then that gives consideration to a higher return on your investment value. My pause on this, though, is historically the city has spent a lot of money on engineering firms and studies and analysis that have gone dormant. Projects haven't moved forward, and 10, 15 years later, we have to spend that money again. So my question is, what is the tangible return on investment that we will be receiving as a city from entering into this agreement with Freeze and Nichols?
What we're gaining out of it is simply the knowledge of Freeze and Nichols, of understanding both entities, wastewater as a whole. And it's not just the wastewater, it's about the water itself. We have supplies coming in from Arlington and Fort Worth. Freeze and Nichols represents both entities. We're stuck in the middle that we have to deal with both of those entities as well. And Freeze and Nichols understands both sides of it. That's, to a certain extent, that's our benefit out of this. Both entities want our business. So it becomes a competitive issue for them. Who do we go with? So they're also in a competitive mindset of what they're looking at from us. Right now, Fort Worth, their water is not as plentiful as Arlington. Arlington has more water sources than Fort Worth, but Fort Worth has more sewer lines. Their capacity is so much larger than what Arlington is in comparison. So we're somewhat between two entities that are looking for the same thing. and which puts us in a good position to be able to go out and truly understand what's in front of us. It is a very huge decision that we're facing in the next couple of years. If we want the city to develop and move forward and have success with development, it doesn't matter if it's residential, business, commercial, it doesn't matter what it is, until we get that sewer line to an area that its capacity is beyond what we have a bottleneck that goes down to 6-inch pipe. That pipe can't hold it anymore. It's literally, we'll have backups if we go and make a development. The plan is to know what our expectations are and what we're looking for. If we have a developer come in today and they want to buy the racetrack property, that's not going to happen because we don't have the infrastructure to say, hey, come to Kennedale. We're open for business. We want you to come here. You're invited to come here. And if we don't do this project, that's going to come to a stop. There's no way to move forward with it. 6 inches is not a very big pipe.
Where is the oversight? That's what I want to know.
That's your city manager.
I trust you. You wouldn't be sitting in that chair if I didn't.
Well, I don't want you to believe that.
I just don't.
It doesn't matter what city manager is sitting here.
It
At
does
one
actually.
Well, it does in a sense that you have to have trust. But in the same sense, we also have to put a little bit of trust in the people that we're asking to help us. And in that fact, the trust of you, of me, is going out and asking for Freeze and Nichols to give me the best idea, the best solution that I can make for our city to be able to move forward and be ready for our future.
I just don't want any hiccups along the way. We can go down that yellow brick road, but I don't want anything coming out at me afterwards. I don't want something going, that was wrong. I don't want something after this is completed or done or whatever. I don't want the boogeyman saying, hi, I'm back. That's what I want. I don't want any hiccups. We've had way too many. I mean, the people from Steeplechase were here tonight. I wasn't aware there was a problem over there. I don't want any hiccups. So if we're going to enter into this contract with Freeze and Nichols, there has to be oversight. A, B, C, D, all the way through the alphabet, all through the numerical system. I don't care. There needs to be oversight every step of the way. And if there's not, if someone drops the ball, you're going to have cop number one right here going, what happened?
And that responsibility falls on me.
Okay.
That's the reason why I'm asking for an hourly, not as a $50,000 bill that just comes out. We're just going to use them as a as needed basis. Currently, we have Shield Engineer that represents us in that aspect of it. I'm truly involved in every step that they do with any of our contractors that we ask to come in. It doesn't matter if it's Shield, Dunaway, or the guy that's going to come out here and do an overlay on our streets. That's the responsibility of me. And it's the responsibility I also put on to our directors to go out and make sure we're doing the right thing for our citizens. It doesn't mean that we're not going to go out there and make a mistake. Obviously, I don't think any of us want to make a mistake. It's not our intentions. But things do happen. But the ones that you're talking about, I would like to say that I could prevent that. And I think that's why you hired me to come in and to be able to manage that. And I have the capability of doing that for you.
One item that I do see, or I would like to talk about in going through the terms and conditions of the proposed agreement with Freeze and Nichols is the insurance statutes. I would like for that to have the following language that City of Kennedale and our employees and agents shall be listed as additionally insured in the event that we're on a location with Freeze and Nichols.
What page is that?
That's going to be attachment TC, and it's going to be page 1, 2, page 4, item 6, insurance. In the center of the page.
Did you get that? Okay.
Yes, sir. I think that that's something that we would be prudent to carry in all contracts moving forward, especially if we're contracting with contractors, so that we're listed as additionally insured.
Okay.
Yep. Mutual waiver of indemnification.
Well, actually, I was going to point out in paragraph 5 and paragraph 8, they actually require the city to indemnify them. And I've already suggested to the city manager that we correct that language or change that language.
Very good.
So when if you get to a point where you want to make a resolution, then I would suggest that you authorize city manager enter into this agreement subject to the changes that have just been discussed. And
Okay.
we'll make those changes to the terms and conditions.
And I would like to see those changes in contracts moving forward with any and all other entities.
So just a reminder, it's always a negotiation. So sometimes they push back and they say no, and we do the best we can.
Of course, but you won't get it if you don't ask for it.
We ask for them.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Is that acceptable to go ahead and go with that and make the vote and we'll make those changes?
As far as I'm concerned, as long as those changes are there, I'm comfortable moving forward. I'll make the motion to enter into a professional services agreement between Bruce and Nichols and the city of Kennedale pursuant to the modifications to the terms and conditions as discussed.
I'll second it.
Mr. Mayor, can we take a brief recess?
Good to see you. Yeah, Gary wasn't able to make it tonight. He's got a dog that's dying on him, so he had to stay home with Juliet. It's a 15-year-old dog that he had. No, it's the poodle. Yeah, and it's 15 years old. And it's on its last leg. Yeah, so he said, I can't leave it. I'll tell him you can't.
How are you?
Let's bring the council back, please.
Yes, I did charge some of that to Fund 15, and they got all the flowers.
Here he is right there. I got absolute confidence in a law man. Okay. Okay. Ms. Rosie? Yes. Go ahead and take the count again, if you will. And we'll note that we've got 2 out.
Yeah, Gary.
No.
I guess 7:25 PM, Jan Joplin. Kenneth Michaels. James Connor.
Ever present.
And then Gary Mitchell absent and Austin Degenhardt left at 7:25.
Thank you, Ms. Rosie. Okay, the next thing we're going to look at is item 3, approval of Spectrum Fiber contract. Ms. Lemore?
So I would ask that you approve a contract with Spectrum. This is a sole source to Spectrum. They have been providing internet and fiber service to the city, and since I believe it's the 1990s or early 2000s. So to go with another carrier at this time could cause an interruption to critical services for the city. So what we did was currently we have a 1 gig fiber line, and that runs us $2,000 a month. We went in and renegotiated that based on current market pricing and standards that we can see through other cooperative agreement contracts. And we were able to get them to agree to, and I know your packet says $13.99 per month, but on the advice of counsel, he recommended we go back and ask counter and ask for $13.80 per month. And so the total amount of the contract we're asking you to approve tonight is a 3-year contract at $13.80 per month for $49,680. That's the total for the 3-year period. Any questions?
Could we not get it cheaper?
I tried. I will tell you, this is the second counter that we've made with them. They went from 2,000 down to 16.99. I said, sorry. I said, I just can't accept that. Then we got them to 13.99 and now 13.80. And that really is market pricing.
I mean, I really hate to be a cheap, you know what, but 1 gig. You could have gotten 3 maybe. I mean, just a little bit higher maybe.
Okay. Anything else that you'd like to add, ma'am?
No, thank you.
Thank you. I will call for a motion. Is there a motion by anyone?
Motion to approve the Spectrum Fiber contract for $1,380 per month. Ooh, that hurt.
For 3 years.
For 3 years.
Okay.
I will
Have a-
second that.
You have a second? Okay. We're ready to vote. Is there any further discussion that's needed at this point? None? Okay. All in favor, raise your left hand. Motion passes. Thank you. The next item is approval of extension of Strong Roots Landscaping contract through September the 30th, 2022. Ms. Ann?
We have a contract with Strong Roots Landscaping Service. They're located in Arlington, local area. The purchase order that we had with them was $22,800. And our Public Works Director approved some work for them in the range of $9,000 related to our flower beds, fountain repair, some of the things we were doing for the Diamond Jubilee. And that is over the amount that can be approved by staff. I think he did it not realizing that he had increased the level above the $25,000 threshold. We are going to rebid this and in the process of rebidding it, but it'll take about 2 months to do that. So we're asking that council approve a change order to this purchase order in the amount of $15,200 to bring the purchase order up to a value of $38,000. Any questions?
Yeah, a couple. Would, I guess, would it be advantageous of us for just to have our Public Works Department do this? I mean, KKB does some of this in the town center, especially with the flower beds. Sonora Park, Mow, Edge, and Blow, we can get our own Public Works Department to do that. A shrub riser and shrub adapter, again, town center. Half of this stuff, except for the fountain irrigation check repair and all that good stuff. I mean, KKB does at least 3 of these things, or actually 2 of these things. And our Public Works Department could do the other 2. I think that might save a little bit of money. Do you agree with that or no?
I think that's definitely an option for us moving forward if we want to look into the next year's budget cycle. If we want to do an in-house lawn service, that's definitely an option that we can look at. For the additional that we're looking at now is we went over the threshold of needing approval to move forward. That is an option for next year.
So one of the questions that I did ask her is where this money would come out of it, and some of it is coming out of the EDC. So, because it is, some of it's EDC, like the chamber is EDC, town center is EDC.
Part of it's coming out of our park fund for the town center park where the flower beds were done and the fountain repair.
And the KKB,
Mhm.
it's coming from.
Didn't KKB do that?
KBB bought,
What happened was, of course, you know, the Public Works were short-staffed. KKB wasn't going to do anything around the Veterans Fountain this year. They were just wanting to let it grow in the grass and just leave it out was. Joe didn't want that. So he pretty much took the initiative and had the contractor come in and clear that bed out. And then once they got it all cleared out, then they were going to plant, but then I told Joe, well, we'll just KKB will plant it. And that's how we got flowers around the fountain and flowers up at the entryway was because of Kim and KKB. And of course I was there planting too, but
Yeah.
It's just when you look at KKB and the youngest member
Yeah,
is
I know.
Kim, you know, and she's older than me. And then, so it's kind of one of those deals, they just couldn't handle the work to do it themselves. And, you know, we really wanted to put on a show and make sure that our parked, looked presentable. And the fountain was working and everything like that for the Jubilee. So that was the increase.
Okay. Thank you.
And we do have KKB donations and that paid for all the flowers. And they really did a great
They
job.
did.
They
Okay.
did. And working in the heat and in the mornings. They came out, was it 5 or 6 mornings and
Right.
planted?
Okay, thank you.
And then right now they're maintaining it too. So it's not going to get into, hopefully it won't get too bad. We got nut grass growing like crazy and that stuff's hard to get rid of. So.
Is there any other comments? If there's not, then I will call for a motion.
I got one more comment.
Oh, one
I'm
more.
looking at
Okay.
here at the Sonora Park. I mean, why is there 1,000? Is that just a one-time deal? I don't understand why there's $1,000.
That's why I was concerned. It was like, why is Sonora Park on here? I mean, our own public works department could have done that. I mean,
And normally they've been doing that. So
I did ask Stan Roundtree that same question. And Stan told me that Joe was looking at contracting out to Strong Roots Sonora Park. So he gave it, so when he was talking to Strong Roots and said, well, how much is it going to cost? I said, well, we don't really know how much work is involved. So we'd like to do it one time and then invoice you and we'll know. And Joe agreed to that.
ew.
So that's what that is for. I also met personally with the contractor, and the contractor thought that he was going to get this as recurring work. And I made it very clear to him, no, it was not recurring, and that the contract was being rebid, and that Stan was now overseeing it. I've also talked to Stan, and Stan does know that that was a one-time deal.
Okay.
okay, I still got another question then. So obviously their contract's almost up, so we're up for renewal of that or going out for bids. Is there any way that we can get the beds around the buildings added to that as part of the contract? Because all this company does is mow.
Yeah, it will go out for bid and all that information will be shared for them for the upkeep for it.
Because I mean, I'm talking about City Hall, Police Department, Library.
Absolutely.
I mean, these beds look ridiculous. and
Absolutely.
It reflects us as a city. We have
Absolutely.
trees just growing random and we need to take care of that.
Absolutely.
All right, cool.
Our image means everything and walking through our front door.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
that's
sir.
one of the reasons why Corey Edwards will be fixed first.
All right, thanks, sir.
Well, and in full disclosure, come to find out, we actually have 2 lawn keeping services. There's another one, True Green, that mows our some easements and some right-of-way areas. So we're looking at one landscaping firm, and then we're also looking at local companies, Kennedale-owned companies, or local to this area. And then we're also looking at partnering with a company, so that I believe that we should help support our suppliers. So if we only give them a contract for the summer, we're not helping them keep their employees employed year round. So we are looking at giving them a winter opportunity as part of this contract, where they would help us with the Christmas lights for the town center, and help us with that lighting of our city for Christmas. And that way they could keep their employees employed year round.
That would be awesome. I would like to go ahead and just make one of them. I'm sorry, I love Christmas lights. There is nothing more special to a gay boy than Christmas lights. Sorry, that was my own personal being. This area over here, you and I have talked about this, where Corey Edwards and Daleview are, right there, that big strip, where on both sides now. Who is responsible for that? Can we get that in the contract too? Because I'm fielding the calls and I'm fielding the anger management from the people over on Daleview about that area. I understand it belongs to a company, but they're not going out there and mowing their property. They're actually not mowing any of it. So it's overgrown. So if we can get something like that, because I do believe that sidewalks are city property. Yes.
It's the responsibility of the homeowner.
Okay.
Or business owner.
Well, something needs to be done about that out there because as much as I would, like if I have to go and get my own mower and go out there and do it myself, I will. But I'd prefer not to, especially when it's 111 degrees. Thank you.
We actually have an officer that's filling in on code compliance, and we'll be able to direct him to deal with him.
Any other discussion? Okay, I'll call for a motion then at this point. We have a motion.
I guess I'll go ahead and get the motion to approve the extension of Strong Roots Landscaping contract through September 30th, 2022.
Okay, we're ready to vote. May I see the left hands that agree? Wrong answer. Try it again. Okay. Yeah, I know. We always let you do that. Okay, motion carries and it's passed. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, lady and gentlemen. One less more, we wouldn't have, we'd be just laughing, sitting here. Okay. Okay. Item 5, city manager contract. Mr. Darrell Hull would like to speak again on that.
I accept your
I think,
vote for the contract.
can we have Carvin speak on this? Because he's like the attorney. He would know more about contracts than anybody.
Well, this, even from last month during our executive session, I asked for that one a correction or add for the capability of receiving our certification pay to be added to the contract. That was the only addition that was put in there. Other than that, it's the original contract that you approved 2 months ago.
And I also signed that. So it's in there. Yep. Yeah.
I make a motion that we approve the employee agreement for City Manager Darrell Hall with the modifications that were added.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, raise the left hand. Okay, motion passes. Thank you all. Congratulations. We are very fortunate to have Darrell Hull. I mean that sincerely.
Thank you, sir.
Item 6, conduct a public hearing.
You can disregard that one.
Okay, disregard that one. Okay. Shield.
Disregard the next one as well.
Okay. We have executive session coming up.
At this point as well, we can disregard the executive session, what we had planned for the interview with the city secretary. She did not show up. So I'm asked to scratch that one off as well.
Okay. So that's in there. Okay. Now, if everybody raises the same hand, we get to adjourn. If they don't, we'll continue to take a motion. We'll humor, guys.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. Okay, and left. Let's see if you got a left hand there, Mr. James.
Okay, yes, I agree.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, and the time is
I know.
7:43.
How many times I gotta tell you, I always go against the grain. I never do what I'm told.
Unbelievable. No, it's shitty. The coin of word. I'm really fed up with this.
You got my number?